All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. How you living, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
60 degrees out there.
Yeah, it's nice. See, you're in shorts.
I got to get him in while I can.
Thank you, Gibbe.
Yeah. Got to get in the.
What do we have? What do we have over here?
This was when we went to Maine this summer.
Yeah, Kennebunkport.
Kennebunkport. This is the logo for this really cool little 9-hole course called Cape Arundel, which is where HW would play golf all the time in Kennebunkport. And so we went, the boys and I went, and it was just a really cool little 9-hole, really short course. I can't even remember. It was like 54 or something like that. No par fives, tight, but really cool. Yeah. And then this is their logo. So I think it's what does it say? The official home of presidential golf.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet
logo. Yeah, which is cool.
It's a nice looking quarter.
Thanks.
Yeah. By the way, crushed the scores last night. So actually salvaged the week a little bit.
I think we're okay. We're
not too bad. I might be right around 5. I think I'm 500 for the week, which was we'll take it.
Close, maybe 6 and 8 or 7 and 7.
6 and 8. Yeah. Which is fine. We're still we're fine. We're safe. It was nice to get that one though, and that was as easy as it could be.
When your first play goes for 6 and they don't even really touch him, and then it's called back, then you go, well, this is going to be a very long night. And indeed it was.
So I missed the first play. So what was their first play?
They ran a pitch fake to Mixon, screen back the other way to Nico, and Nico went to the barn 75.
Well, that would have been useful for me.
Would have been very used for you.
Instead, I was playing against Joe Mixon, who had the best game in the world.
Well, that wasn't great. Laramie Tunsil was a legal man downfield.
Laramie.
And he knew it right away. And Manning was so pissed off about it. Peyton was like, you have one job. You've been practicing this play all week to open the game. Nico's back. You knew that you had it scouted. You knew it would go well. You had one job. Don't go downfield until he catches it. And Tunsil went 2 yards downfield. And that's how it happened. Now they ended up scoring anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it would have been fun to start. I mean, play 175 plus to the barn and 7-zip. I'll tell you what. Just from an appreciation standpoint, I am never going to take for granted the fact that an 82-year-old man who bought the Dallas Cowboys for $150 million that are now worth $10 billion serves as not only the owner, but also the general manager and voice of record for the team immediately after a loss, and the next day on local radio, answering for all of it. We will never see anything like this again in professional sports.
No, we will not. By the way, I like how fired up he's getting, too. He's getting very angry. Did you see his response to being asked about why there were so many empty seats and so many Texans fans?
I did not see that.
Oh, he's not pleased. Do we have that audio anywhere?
Was this from this morning or last night after the game?
I think it was from this morning. But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
All right, fine.
We would never see, you're just never going to see it again. You're never going to see somebody who did all of this and then at that age, has a gaggle.
I think it's
unbelievable.
If I ever got fortunate enough to be in a position to buy an NFL franchise, that's how I'd conduct it.
I think that's how we all think we'd want to conduct it.
Yeah.
But I think also one of the things that most people who are in that position do is say, I didn't get here by doing things that I'm not good at.
Yeah, but we're big bees, though, so we'd handle
sure.
it.
So all of a sudden we're on that level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's amazing that he does it. It's amazing that he still is the final say over everything they do with the roster, that he owns up. I think that's really cool that he is the final say and he owns up to it.
I think it's cool he speaks every week.
It's amazing. Yeah, twice a week after every game and on the local television. It was a great Manning cast game.
Yes. And I really enjoyed it. I really only watched the first half.
Yeah, I did too.
Belichick is so good with them. And then I love when he was trying to, when they showed Peyton was throwing Nerf balls over the rackets. And he was like, Bill, isn't this exciting? And Bill's like, no.
I don't care.
We were knocking him down. Yeah. And Eli's, why are you using Nerf balls?
Eli always redirects to Peyton, and then Peyton would direct to Bill. Eli rarely ever goes to Bill.
Straight to
he
Bill.
always directs to Peyton, and then Peyton goes to Bill. No, it was really good and it was fun. And there is something you can see that CJ's gotten a little broken by the offensive line and is a little skittish. He missed one in the seam where he just airmailed it for that interception where they were ready to go up 14-0, and he just threw it too soon. And he airmailed it, and it's like he's just gotten beaten up.
Yep.
And he's starting to see ghosts a little bit.
It happens.
And it happens. And, he's 63%. He was so much better last year than he has been this year. And I think when you don't watch him every game, and then you get an opportunity like last night to watch them, because I was excited to see it. I was curious to see what Nico back and all of that. And obviously
Joe Mixon still got it.
He's still got it. One cut, go. And I because of covered CJ at Ohio State, like, wanted to see kind of what was going on, and it all adds up. Like, he's just, when Nico went out and that offensive line is so bad that he's taken a lot of hits, and you can tell that it's affected his confidence in the pocket.
There's no doubt about it. But, they're still a formidable team, and they're still somebody that, will be, I think, a tough out in the playoffs because they are a pretty complete football team.
They have a lot of weapons.
They have a lot of weapons. They've got a solid defense. It's just stunning to me, I think, ultimately, just how bad the Dallas Cowboys are is crazy.
Yeah, I think I agree. But remember, we talked about this when we opened with. Okay, here we go.
Here it is. Look at it.
Look at this.
Tight. Look at it. Unbutton a little more. I don't know if we have enough button. Yeah, there we go. There it is.
Look at that. Pop that collar. He's got the cuff.
What a dark blue that
really was.
Midnight.
Gorgeous.
A
real dark. Yeah, I think we talked about it in the opener. They just really didn't seem like they were going for it. They didn't do anything in free agency. They kind of wasted their training camp by forever to get Dak's deal done. Made acrimony where there didn't need to be with CeeDee Lamb.
Yep.
And so they just had it was just a very strange offseason for them to not with a team that to me looked like, okay, let's go.
Yep.
And they didn't address running back. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be like, we don't value this position. It's another thing to say we're just going to bring back Zeke.
And Rico Dowdle.
Wild.
Yeah.
They didn't draft one. They didn't find a weapon. Who is the guy that got shot out of a cannon on their touchdown on the slant? The rookie.
Oh, Turpin.
Holy cow. He's a missile.
He's been around for a little while, I think. Yeah, third season.
He was a missile.
Guy, I'm pretty sure he was like the XFL MVP or the something MVP, was special teams ace monster.
Okay.
But yeah, he's electric, and he was shot right out of a cannon on that slant. He was gone.
Yeah,
just gone.
Yeah, he was. So they're in a position now where the two things I would have about them are you going to play Trey Lance, or is he just so awful that he's unplayable? Because
clearly feels that.
To me, I would try to find a way to play him, and maybe you could showcase him, but obviously he's unshowcaseable. Yeah, it's like Zach Wilson or whatever. Like,
it must be.
He just can't play football.
I mean, Cooper Rush, he ends up throwing for 354 yards, but it was.
But what's the point?
Yeah, there was no point. No point. No. Tell you, you had this week in primetime, you had 2 good games and 1 dud. This Houston Dallas game was an absolute dud.
It was. Like, if I didn't, that's why it was the perfect Manning cast game for me.
Yep.
And the CJ connection, so that gave me something to watch for.
Did you stay for J.J. Watt?
No.
Mm-mm. Peyton was going on a whole thing about how batting the ball down the line of scrimmage should be illegal.
I think, he was on doing that shtick. He was doing that. And I thought Belichick had a funny line. He was like, so Peyton, the next time should they play 11, just 10 on defense? Would that make you happy?
Yeah, would that be good?
I thought that part was pretty funny. Yeah. But yeah, that is a perfect Manning cast game for me. So I watched the first half, and then Sheridan's got a new show on Paramount called Landman.
What do you think of it?
It's fun. I mean, if you like Billy Bob Thornton.
Okay, so I've only seen one scene that was snipped out where he is talking with, I'm guessing, his daughter. And It was one of the most strange, bizarre scenes I've ever seen.
There is she's very, but I don't know. Maybe that's how kids talk. I have no idea now. I know the scene you're talking about. That's a small part of this.
On him for asking, to be fair.
Very true. What I think is, I've always been fascinated with that part of the world since I read the Bissinger book, Friday Night Lights, 20 years ago. And so like that West Texas oil field world.
Yep.
So I think he does a great job of capturing that world. And then Billy Bob Thornton is pretty great in everything.
Yeah.
And he gets to cook. I mean, it's 90% him. It's basically all him. Like John Hamm's in it. Demi Moore's in it. What's her name? Marcy from Varsity Blues, whipped cream girl. She's in it.
Oh.
But they have like a scene.
Okay.
And it's all
Billy
him.
Bob.
It's all Billy Bob handling problems.
So I felt like we watched the second episode of Yellowstone. They're not even trying to like even pretend that they're keeping any type of time continuity either.
It was ridiculous.
It's absurd. I'm like, wait a second. All of a sudden he's back, but we're just now it's.
They went from a scene with Rip and Beth having dinner in Amarillo, I believe 2 weeks before her father was assassinated.
Correct.
Cut straight to her in Jamie's office. Post.
Well, and I think, and also to Rip on with Lloyd,
Yeah.
being like, what are we gonna do?
What
I'm
are
like,
we
wait a
gonna do?
second.
Where how are you back? What is
Yeah,
this
what is-
before? I don't.
My wife and I were so confused too.
It was.
This is where I'm at with it.
It's awful.
This guy has.
I don't know if I'm gonna finish it.
This guy has Yellowstone, Landman.
Yeah, but Yellowstone
Lioness.
you gotta.
Hold on, Lioness and 1923, which is filming, and Tulsa King.
I was gonna say,
so he's got
that's the
Tulsa
lone
King,
one.
Lioness, Landman, and Yellowstone. They're all going at once, right? He gets paid most for Landman, Tulsa King, 1923, and what's the other one?
Lioness.
Lioness, because those are Paramount Plus only. So he gets that's the 250s for that. 250 million he got for doing those. All those shows on Paramount Plus. Yellowstone goes on Paramount Network, but then residually it lives on Peacock. So he doesn't get the money for Yellowstone. And what it looks to me like is he just is putting, it's like vignettes. It's not a story at all. There's nothing coherent about any of it.
We're gonna camp on a rattlesnake den, and that's gonna be a 8-minute scene.
That's an 8-minute scene. And I'm going to tell you something. The idea that those folks that came down from Montana to West Texas would not know that they had camped on a rattlesnake den is impossible.
Impossible.
Because guess what, bud? We've got rattlesnakes in Montana. Lots of them. Okay? So you're well aware of where they are. And you wouldn't just set up camp there. So that makes no sense. You'd never set camp over, because he was saying something about how prairie dog holes or something. You would never do that ever. Next.
How did a rattlesnake, it was in her sleeping bag, on her chest.
That's right.
Never bit her.
Right.
She didn't say a word. She didn't even like scream as if like the rattlesnake's going to hear her yell and get upset that she's yelled. And he comes in and saves the day. There turns out there's another one in there.
Yeah.
Absurd.
Incoherent.
I'll say this. And it's not because you're not supposed to like him. There was a time where there was a wrestler who was very popular for a while named X-Pac. And then
I remember this guy, yeah.
X-Pac, people just like hate, it was like go away. So they called it like X-Pac heat. Like not the heat that you want as a bad guy where people just
like we're annoyed.
Just it's
enough.
Go away.
Yeah.
I believe the actor who plays Jamie is maybe he might be my least favorite and one of the worst actors of all time.
I think he's a very terrible actor.
He's awful.
And I don't think at all what they ended up doing with the character matches what he was in the beginning. He was a fixer in the beginning. He handled all the legal issues for the ranch. When Casey got in trouble, it was Jamie who helped him. It was all of that stuff. It was all, and now to just turn him into this whimpering coward.
He needs fixers. People are fixing
He has no
for
brains.
him.
He's a moron. He's mealy-mouthed, soft, all of it. That's not what the character was in the beginning at all.
No, and
there's
then
no reason to
that
do it. It's
lady,
just
what's it?
No, it's
market equities.
market equities
What
nonsense.
kind of a name is that anyway?
Yeah.
Awful.
No, it's really bad.
It's awful.
There's enough. I've just so invested that, and there's only 4 episodes left, so I'll finish it out. Also, just absolutely impossible to wrap your head around the idea that you would assassinate the sitting governor of Montana, who's one of the 5 biggest landowners in the United States and a legacy ranch over a century old, and that roughly 2 weeks after, we have not had a funeral. There isn't a hard target investigation on everything, looking into every single thing that can happen here.
Brother.
None of that has happened, and we're back to business. And then Market Equity's just showing up in the Attorney General's office.
And being like, let's
hey,
go ahead.
Let's go, baby. It's only he's dead.
and
It's your kingdom now.
We'll
What?
back you for governor.
What are you
Hold on a
talking
second.
about?
Hold on a second.
It's incoherent.
It doesn't raise the eyebrows of anybody in law enforcement in the state of Montana that the time of death was 3:53 and that magically all the security cameras went down at 3:50.
No one's even looking into it.
So they all go down, then 3 minutes later he dies.
Yeah. Yep.
Must have been suicide.
Had to been. What else could it be? Yeah, it's a real fail. It's a real fail. He's also being too heavy-handed with like the rest of it, like the Sixes vodka and like hitting you over the head. Beth gets pulled over by a female cop in Texas, and the woman goes, "Well, your husband's a cowboy. I know where my meat comes from. Keep driving."
Yeah.
And guess who owns a cattle ranch? The guy who's writing all of it. Guess who owns the 4 Sixes? The guy who's writing all of it.
Like we need to go back
so
and get
over the head.
our own brand of vodka.
Right. It's just
Oh man, that's
so
what should
much.
be. There aren't going to be many cowboys left.
They're getting lazy with other stuff too, and you wouldn't know this if you didn't have the fact knowing growing up where I did. This is set in Paradise Valley, the airport which is east side of Bozeman. It's one valley over from Bozeman and Big Sky. The airport they drove to is Missoula. It's over 4 hours away. So in the old days, they would get that stuff right.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like they would have him drive up to the airport in Belgrade, which is where the airport you fly into for Big Sky Bozeman. They'd have him go there. Instead, because the ranch that they shoot on is in the Bitterroot Valley, which is well south of Missoula, about 5 hours from Paradise Valley, they just shot it at Missoula instead of like going to Belgrade to do it right. So they're skipping all that stuff too. Yeah.
Where did you grow up in relation to where this is taking place?
Where it's taking place, 4.5 hours north.
I gotta say, your command of the topography and maybe because it's Montana is pretty incredible. Like I don't know how specific I would be on things that were going on in the San Joaquin Valley in California, even though I grew up in California.
Well, yeah, I guess, but also like when you grow up out there, you spend a lot of time driving around.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, when I think about, like, what we do for vacation, like, a lot of time what we would do for vacation is we would go to Yellowstone.
Right.
You know, it was like 6 hours south. Like, you'd go to Yellowstone is what you would do. Glacier was only an hour and a half north, so it wasn't a big deal. But, like, or you'd go to, like, Lake Coeur d'Alene. Well, to go to Lake Coeur d'Alene, you got to drive through Missoula to get there.
Okay.
So, and you'd have family spread throughout the state, and you'd see all of that. So, I think that's probably why it is. But that's the first time that they've gotten lazy with that stuff. Is now. It's gotten just silly. And you also realize that without Dutton as like the anchor, the rest of this stuff is just nonsense.
As I said, they lost Kevin Costner. It's rough. I also think it's funny how that ranch was constantly under siege from like not just the big heavy that came in every year, but all kinds of people around them. And now they have Dutton's gone, Rip's gone, and somehow it's just peaceful as can be at the property that is so coveted and constantly under siege.
Yeah, and I think I said this years ago when you and I were talking about the show a little. And crazy, like 16 million people watch this episode 1 of season 5, 2, whatever it is. Like 16 million. That's an astronomical number. That's far and away more than anybody's watching anything on television other than the NFL. Like nothing else is even in the not even big time college football does 16 million. That's crazy on terrestrial TV.
People have to be getting this.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I think it's still enough of like the stuff that you could kind of stay with it and you want to see how it ends, I guess. And I think there's probably some people who think that maybe Costner's going to come back for the last episode is like this is all a big ruse, like something like that.
He's dead. His brain's on the wall.
But I mean, they also said, I don't know, maybe it was to the point where you couldn't even recognize him, like this was all a big shoot. Like, who knows? I think it's all in play. Like this is like a Dallas Who Shot JR type thing. I think they could do anything they want if there's the money in it. But one thing that I always said that made no sense was the notion that ranch, which we know was founded in 1883, would have any financial issues whatsoever.
Well, that's what they're going on now, right? That they can't afford.
There would be no financial. It was 1 million acres or whatever they're saying it was. He could sell off 50,000 acres and wouldn't even feel it.
Right.
And pay for whatever taxing that would come. So there's no. That part was always fundamentally wrong, that side of it. But, yeah. Scenery. The West Texas. The Landman show is kind of fun. It's a crazy scene, but it's in the context of it, I think it makes a little bit more sense based on
1923 to come back. That one,
I think that's
like they put
next
a lot into
spring.
And they were doing it very
But
well.
they stopped in the middle of it. They just randomly stopped.
They're like, it's the end of the season.
I guess we can't do anything more about this. Well,
no, it's not.
What is going on?
Yeah.
What are we doing? We had a couple of things from us. Practice starts at 1:45. So this would be, because remember, we play Thursday night. This is equivalent of your Thursday practice of game week. So that's kind of where we are in that sense. DeJuan Jones officially placed on injured reserve. Sucks. Garrett Christian to the active roster from the Rams practice squad. He's back. 7th season at Louisville, 59 games, 25 starts. Started 9 games at left tackle for the Browns in 2023 and appeared in 1 game for the Rams this season.
Yeah, that was our guy last year.
Yeah.
Who ended up having to play tackle right off the streets because Callahan liked him, and guess what? Now he's back.
Yeah. So there you go. And you're going to inch towards the Steelers here on Thursday night. Weather looking dicey. This is going to be one of the ones where Dr. Z's very happy he's now in a perch.
You better believe it.
This could be 30s and rainy, kind of. Rainies and snowy and gross.
I know. Yeah, I know a lot of people who have opted out of attending.
I understand.
Game.
Like, this is the thing you and I always say.
Still Browns Steelers. Come on, this is why you got to have a dome.
Yeah. Do that, and then you got a better chance.
What's your favorite?
Be a non-starter for me.
There are a lot of things that would be.
Jameis Winston is coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey, it's your Uncle Bo here for my friends at Jim Beam. Whether you're catching up with friends over a cocktail, hosting a holiday movie night, or getting together for a gift exchange, Jim Beam is here to help you have the best Friendsmas ever. If you need a holiday playlist, digital invitations, cocktail recipes, or last-minute gifts, the Friendsmas shop is stocked with everything you need to create more merry and bright moments this holiday season. Visit JimBeam.com to explore all the Friendsmas shop has in store. Jim Beam, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, copyright 2024, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart. And now we head to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here's Jameis Winston.
Goes down.
There's a lot around here, and no matter the year, they seem to be able to draw their opponent into their type of dirty game, grindy game. Do you get that watching them, and how do they do that?
Well, I believe the Steelers, just since I've been growing up, have had great leadership from the head coach position, and Coach Mike Tomlin is one of the best of the best. So his team definitely reflects on the type of person that he is. So I know that's why that team is very disciplined, and that's why they play with their whole heart.
Like some coaches won't kick 6 field goals, and they've done it twice this year and win. Just, do you think they're rare in that case? Well,
I think it's whatever is required to win, and whatever that means. Like, is it 6 field goals? Is it 2 block punts? Is it 5 touchdowns? It's whatever's required.
James, you've never played them, right? Mm-hmm. First, is it surprising that you've been in the league a long time, you've never played them, and just looking from the outside, what have you always thought about that defense?
Just always, again, it starts with that head coach. I got so much respect for him and the man that he is, and like that defense is they're bend but don't break defense, and they're disciplined. They're a sound defense. They don't make mistakes. They're really good. They got 3 premier rushers, 2 on the edge, 1 in the interior. They got a Patrick Queen is playing better than he's played. They got a young corner that's elite. They got a veteran corner that I've seen over the course of my career. He's fast and likes to take chances, and they got a safety that's a ball hawk. So they're stacked on every level. I think the main focus is the Cleveland Browns have to come and play Cleveland Browns' best version of football.
James, when you talk about that Steelers rush, obviously TJ's in the middle of all that. Just for you, as you're preparing for this game, how do you prepare for a team that brings the heat the way they do and is not afraid to be aggressive and take the football away?
Well, it's precision passing, getting the ball out on time, elite operation, and just doing our job. Like, it's the simple things. Like, this team is not going to try to fool you. They're going to line up and say, give us your best, we're going to give our best.
Jameis, just in watching TJ Watt on the film, just how good is he, and are you going to have to be aware of him every single play, I'm guessing?
Yeah, he's an amazing player. I was fortunate enough to play against his brother. Anytime you got a dominant edge rusher, you definitely going to have awareness where he is at all times. I think he just needs to continue to do it, keep doing what he's doing, and he'll lead himself to the Hall of Fame.
Jameis, are there any other teams you've never played in 10 years?
I think the Steelers are the only team, honestly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you go out and about in the community, you said the other night that you learned here early on that you have to be the Steelers. What does that look like when you're out and about, or where do you kind of hear that, or how do you know that?
Well, I believe, regionally, Pittsburgh is right down the road east of us. So it's about 2.5 hours right of us, and I think that breeds the rivalry. I don't think a lot of people talk about Cincy down south. I think there's more in-state, but just growing up, seeing the blood, sweat, and tears that happen in these games. Like, these games are a hard-nosed, hard-fought, true definition, cold weather football game. Football weather, football game. Like, this is the premiere. When you're growing up watching NFL films, hearing that amazing voice come on when you see the Steelers, and then when he always talk about the Raiders, but the Steelers are in the Browns division, so this is a big game, and we got to get this for our fans.
Jameis, along those lines, you mentioned the cold weather. You're going to get your first taste of this Northeast Ohio weather potentially on Thursday. I don't know how much cold weather you played in your career, but how do you kind of prepare for that and get ready to have this offense be successful?
In cold weather games, you can put enough clothes to be warm, right? And we're blessed. We got heaters on the sidelines. Everything's good. And once the blood gets flowing, you just go out there and play. With the rain and the snow, obviously it's a premium on ball security from all the ball carriers and making sure that we're being very decisive with what we're doing in terms of play calling and execution.
Do the elements make the game more challenging to you or more fun?
A little bit of both. But like that's what you like, man. When I was young, I played in this thing called the Mud Bowl, where we played against Center Point, Alabama, where it was pouring down, raining. You know, like our cleats are sinking into the ground before we snap the ball. Like, you know, we running cross buck and we running wing left. Like we doing all these like old school wing T type stuff. You know, so like this is the stuff that you play for. You know, like when you watch football movies, you hear about the like, you know, falling in mud, having a big grass stain coming up in your face mask. Like this is exciting football, and this is what we do. It's November football. It's football weather, and you playing against one of the top historic franchises with a Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame players, and the Cleveland Browns 2-8. We got to show up and show out.
Did you make the trip with the Saints on the Christmas Eve game?
I was there.
That had to be the coldest day you remember.
I was there. The coldest when I was trying to walk the Marble Room, and I thought I saw how far it was from the Hilton Hotel, and I decided to walk. Like that was cold. On game day, again, we had the heaters and stuff, man. Like it really is fun, and like just growing up as a lover of football, like just to be in those conditions, man. And I remember that game. You know, we had some fans that was risking their life out there, you know, for that Christmas game. So it's gonna be fun. But the most important thing is us playing the best version of football that the Cleveland Browns can play.
James, this will be Nick Chubb's first game against the Steelers since suffering that knee injury against them last year. This is your first year with him as a teammate. Is he everything as advertised that you had heard about Nick Chubb?
He's everything and more. This is poise. This is demeanor. This is, I would say, hard-nosed work ethic. He's the epitome of a running back, you know, a ground and pound running back, and he can do some stuff out of the backfield. He's just a great man, and we got a chance to understand like what helped him become that great man with, you know, his family and all that. So I've been very fortunate to be his teammate.
Just to go back to TJ Watt really quickly, I mean, it's not just getting the quarterbacks this year, he's leading the league in forced fumbles, so I know you're always trying to take care of the football, but how much of an extra emphasis is that with that part of his game right now? I
think anytime you're in the pocket, you got to have a heightened awareness of where he is, and he does it really well. So I like Jack Conklin. I think he's going to do a great job against him. So we're going to be working together to beat, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ Watt is an amazing player, but the Cleveland Browns, have to beat the Steelers.
How would you compare this rivalry to other ones that you've been a part of in terms of like?
Well, this is the first time I've been a part of this rivalry. Being from the South, you know, I know about the Saints and Falcons. I know a little bit about the Cowboys and Eagles, the Cowboys and Raiders. Like when you're from the South, like you hear about the Cowboys really, because that's America's team. But being up here, you know, like from the South, I say Alabama and Auburn is the baddest, dirtiest rivalry of all time versus anybody. You know, and y'all gonna be like, oh, what you mean? Ohio State and Michigan. Like, I'm from the South. Like, it doesn't even compare. But I'll probably get some backlash on that. But I get it. You know, but everyone has their own opinion and perspective. I think the most important thing is in these games when emotions are high, when the fans are going to be into it, like this is when you need your fans the most. And this is when we have to show out for the fans because it means a lot to them to win this game. And if it means a lot to them, it means a heck of a lot to me to go out there and get a win for them.
You said that you thought DeJuan Jones could be one of the best left tackles in the game. Just how tough was it to see him go down? And then if you could touch on just the existing situation now at left tackle and the fact that position's in.
Well, I know one thing about DeJuan. I know he's going to be resilient. He's going to stay on top of his game. You get to see the gradual process of him trending, you know, into being a premier left tackle, you know. But I think this is the epitome of next man up football. man, Jermaine Ifedi has been in this league a long time. He's a number one pick. You know, he's been patiently preparing for this moment. So I'm definitely excited to be out there with him. I think he came in last week and did a heck of a job. So we're going to keep leaning on him, keep lifting him up, and we're going to keep pushing forward.
James, with the weather being what it is, with this being obviously a physical game in the AFC North, does the run game become a little bit more important for you guys as an offense in this one?
I mean, I tell you, like, anytime I'm at quarterback, I want to run the football. Like, I think, like, that's, again, I'm a football lover. Like, back in the day, like, it wasn't nobody passing the ball, it was running. Like, that is the easiest, most efficient way of changing the outcome of a football game. I think it poses your will on a defense. I think it's exciting to hear the clicks and the clacks, and it just helps you, get some juice, man. Running the football, to me, is so important, and I'm happy we got the running back we got.
Receivers talk about you giving them a chance to make a play. So what goes into that? How much trust is needed on your end and even their end to make that connection come about?
Well, I think we have a group of veteran receivers for the most part. Said is our youngest pass catcher, and I think it's just the work that they put in every single week. They know that I won't. We talk about the precision passing game. I want you at this place at this time, and they strain and they work to get there. And they know, hey, versus man-to-man coverage, what does that mean? You got to win. Like, regardless of how you get open, let's win, and I'll put the ball on you. So I think when you got a play caller like Ken, who's giving all of them opportunities, you keep them engaged. And once receivers, when receivers get engaged, like, it's the best of both worlds. They want the ball. They're blocking for each other. They're out there executing, and it makes football really fun.
All right, there you go. Your quarterback, Jameis Winston, from the podium from earlier today, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience packages today for the ultimate game day. Coming up next, it is Steelers on a short week. We will meet the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Boost your game day this season with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Place your first bet of $50 or more, and you're going to get $150 back in bonus bets. Ballybet is official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. It is time to meet the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin, your head coach, he's 181-102-2 in his 18th year in the Steel City. He has never had a losing record as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The all-time series, the Steelers lead 81-63 and the one tie. The last meeting we won, that was in November of last year, right around this time, November 19th, beat them 13-10 here in town. That was the classic, the DTR. That was Bootsy meeting Chomps. That was Donovan breaking guitars. That was all of it. One of the most memorable games of all of last season, and certainly in recent Browns memory. Last time out, they beat Baltimore 18-16. They did so without scoring an offensive touchdown in the game. League-wide rankings, offense, 19th overall. They are 8th in rushing, 28th in passing. Defense is 8th overall, 4th in rushing, 19th in passing. They are a turnover differential of ±11. That is second in the National Football League. You know them well. They are one of the better teams in the NFL this season. They're one of the better franchises as well. For perspective on the Steelers, we turn it over to Dr. Z.
They're good. They are.
Good job, Z.
The next
Good
level
job.
is next.
Good job. Great job. Good job. Cat-like reflexes.
Well, we're multitasking today.
There's a lot going on. It's a short week.
Short week multitask.
It's a short week, and I was over here cleaning up the great water spill of 24.
There was
when you come in here as a big klutz and just knock my water bottle over for no reason.
A big C or a big K? Is klutz with a C or a K?
Whatever.
I think it's a C. And number 2, where's your lid? You're around radio gear. No regard for it.
Well, funny.
No regard for the wall you vomited on last week.
I didn't spill it.
I don't even know what you're doing.
I didn't even spill it. So you did.
You did catch it relatively quickly, Gibbe. Before much.
Yeah.
Before too
Unlike
much.
By the
Steve,
way,
it took 50
you're
minutes
a
to
Cleveland
turn on the
Brown.
on-off button on his mic and then move the mic over. Yeah, you're right. I did.
Okay. When you come in here and
can we do
beg
Go ahead.
for us to not talk about your true feelings about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then you come and attack me, a member of the Cleveland Browns football organization, and you are not embodying, smart, tough, and accountable. Coming in here, flailing your hands around,
I
not
was totally
smart.
accountable. I totally knocked the water over.
Well, then you're blaming me about the cap. That doesn't sound like accountability.
Well, but
you also got
normal
beat.
people have lids on their water.
Dale also.
Do they?
Equipment.
Somehow Dale also.
If you had a cup of water.
Dale Davidson also put blame on you for wrecking Yellowstone when you and I did the breakdown of Yellowstone.
Yeah,
that's
He was blowing up my phone like you guys are spoiling it. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what. This is the rule, DD.
24
the show
hours.
aired Sunday.
Sunday.
If it matters to you, you have 24 hours to watch it.
I will also say this. Once a show jumps the shark like this program has, it's fair game to be spoiled.
Yeah, you're not. We're saving you time.
We always give you 48 hours.
Yeah,
you got 24 hours to watch.
Was it discussed on Monday?
People aren't going to watch it live. We don't do that. But by Tuesday, if it matters, you got to watch.
It was not discussed on a Monday.
Right,
By the
ready?
way,
Oh,
Mike Tomlin career record against the Cleveland Browns 26-7-1. Take that number and stick it.
Thanks,
Gross.
Gibbe. Look at you pointing out
Very positive Pittsburgh stat.
Yeah, and then being like, "Oh, I don't like it."
It's in all seriousness, like they're.
It's true. Nobody else brought up that record.
I wanted to know the record because
you did walk into that on your own, in your own trap. You've entrapped
There
yourself.
have been numerous quarterbacks in this division that have, frankly, owned this franchise from other teams.
This is more propaganda.
Digging.
What?
And I'm
are,
just
are
saying,
you, are you going
I
to tell
wanted
us
to know
next
what
about
the
Ben
record was
Roethlisberger?
because I know
how
that
for a long time he had
a quarterback
more
that
wins
played
in this
here
stadium
last
than any
year,
other quarterback.
that was formerly a
tell us?
quarterback of the Ravens, lost like twice in his career. To us.
You're like Wile E. Coyote when
unbelievable.
when he unwittingly is digging his own grave.
Yeah, you're dropping the envelope,
and then all of a sudden,
hey dude, I've had a good run. If it all ends now, fine.
Boom,
whatever.
Boom, done. Jeez. All right, meet the Steelers. Go ahead.
I'm trying to, but right now their PR man is doing it for us.
Usurping the segment.
Listen, you know how you win in the National Football League? You dominate You dominate the turnover differential. We talked about that already, right? They're plus 11, 19 takeaways, only 8 giveaways. They are number 2 in scoring defense, number 8 in overall defense. They're number 2 in the turnover differential, number 9 on third downs, number 8 in the red zone. Those are high leverage money situations. That's who they are defensively. Now, offensively, they're not so dominant, but what they are very good at is they're good at running the football. They're the number 8 rushing team in the league. They're good at taking care of the football. They do not turn the football over, and they are good at possessing and wearing down opponents. Now, they're terrible in the red zone. They're terrible in goal-to-go situations. In fact, 9 of 17 on first and goals. That's the last in the league. 16 of 36 touchdowns in the red zone, 30th in the league. But then you've got Chris Boswell. Gibby, do you know how many field goals Chris Boswell's made this year?
You know how many field goals Chris Boswell has made this
Is he not
year?
even listening now?
No, but I believe he had 6 on Sunday.
He did. That's correct. He has 29 on the season. That is the most in the NFL. He's 29 of 30. He has not missed inside of 40 yards, 20 for 20. Inside of 50 yards, 20 for 20, and he's 9 of 10 on 50 plus.
Isn't it also interesting that every other kicker in this division is having a down year, and he's not?
The whole league started off as gangbusters.
Yeah.
And then it's been like off of a cliff.
It
People
has.
Just
I don't
know what's going on. I don't know if they've changed the balls.
I mean, McPherson missed a bunch. Our guy Hopkins never missed anything last year. Tucker's struggling, who never has. So it's been a very strange year for kickers.
I mean, they've won 2 games of the Steelers in which they have not scored a touchdown. They beat the Atlanta Falcons week 1, and this past week they beat the Baltimore Ravens. The defense has just playmakers. TJ Watt's a playmaker. Patrick Queen is a playmaker. You know, he's a guy that in his career has 3.5 sacks against the Browns. Doesn't have a sack this season as he's playing true kind of off-ball linebacker in the scheme. But Alex Highsmith has 8 sacks in 8 games against the Browns. Watt has 17 in 12 games against the Browns. Cam Hayward has 11.5 sacks against the Browns. They have playmakers all over the field. Minka Fitzpatrick obviously on the back end of this defense as well. Joey Porter and Dante Jackson's playing great, the former second rounder of the Carolina Panthers. They've got good corners. They're suffocating. Then offensively, Najee Harris is on pace to plot along right to, the 4th straight 1,000-yard season of his career. He's the only Steeler running back ever to start his career with 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's well on his way to number 4. Pickens is making plays down the field, averaging 15 yards a catch. He's got 728 yards. They bring in Mike Williams. He has 1 catch in 2 games. Guess what? It was a 32-yard game winner against Washington. They play big tight ends. They got Freiermuth is 6'5", 258. Darnell Washington 6'7", 264. So they play these big tight ends, and they just come and they get physical. That's who they are. This is a physical football team, and the Browns are going to have to match it. And Russ, 60% completions on the year, 8 yards an attempt, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, 94 rating, taking care of it. Justin Fields himself was 66% completions, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, 94 rating. And by the way, Justin Fields still leads their team in total touchdowns. He's got 5.
Is it, when you think about...
It's Arthur Smith, dude. It's like electricity.
It is. He is an electric factory. Do you think that the move to... What does Wilson not do that Fields did? Because statistically...
Wilson throws the ball down the field better than Fields.
Justin does, more accurately than Justin does. And so that's it. Because statistically... Fields was more.
So the difference is, Fields is higher completion percentage, 66 to 60, but lower yards per attempt, 7 to 8. He's obviously a much better rusher. He ran for 248 yards and 5 touchdowns. Russ has run for 14 yards. It's just the vertical passing is where Russ is. That's what he's kind of added into their offense and really has gotten George Pickens going.
Yeah, he has. I did hear Kevin today talking about he wouldn't be surprised if there was a package for Fields.
Yeah, he played in the last game and had 2 rushes for 17 yards. He's such a red zone weapon. I don't know why when you're struggling in the red zone. He's got 5 touchdowns, all of them from the red zone. So if you think about it, there's 16 touchdowns. He, at least on the ground, accounted for 5 of them. I don't know how many of his passing touchdowns came from there as well, but he had his 10 touchdowns in those 6 games that he accounted for, whereas Russ has accounted for 7 touchdowns in 4 games. So similar. They kind of been really similar with both. Russ has just brought a little bit more big play via the air there for them. They run it with Najee. They got Jaylen Warren, and of course everybody remembers Jaylen Warren's 74-yard touchdown against the Browns last year and the career high 129 yards he had in that game. Just a good, tough team, and they play all 3 phases well. I think they've blocked kicks. They don't have any return. They have a return punt touchdown already this year, Calvin Austin, and we know we've struggled to stop, punt returns.
Mm-hmm.
Their punter is doing an excellent job as well. And then they've got, Boswell, 29 of 30.
That's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
It's pretty. Do you know without looking who their 2 losses are to? I know you're prepping them, so you probably know it. They lost back-to-back weeks. They started 3-0.
Started 3-0.
Beat one at Atlanta, at Denver,
at Vegas, or
beat the Chargers at home when Herbert was wounded.
Yep.
They lost at Indy and at Dallas in back-to-back weeks. At Indy, at Dallas.
That's
then they
hard to believe.
Bombed the Raiders.
I knew.
Then they bombed the Jets, 37-15. That's the one where they were booing Russ going into half, and then they flipped it.
Because your cousin, Beanie Bishop, had a pick right at the end of the half and then picked Rodgers off again in that game. He picked up.
Yeah.
Beanie Bishop only intercepts New York quarterbacks, though, 2 against the Jets, 1 against the Giants. Lid. Yeah.
And then they bombed the Giants.
See, I keep it way out here.
And then they beat their last 2 teams. They beat their most impressive wins. They won at Baltimore, or they won at Washington, and then they beat Baltimore.
And they're very tight games. Could have gone either way, but they know how to win.
Yeah, that's it. They do. They know how to win, and I don't know. They're next.
That was
so
a
they're
splash, by the way.
I heard it. One of my favorite sounds. Nothing but
Did you
net.
get the wall?
At Cleveland Thursday. That's Cincinnati coming off the bye. That's Cincinnati coming off the bye. Then we're there on the 8th. Then at Philly, at Baltimore, Kansas City.
That's
3 in a row.
They have a tough finish.
It's a gauntlet.
It is a gauntlet. And if we were, we always get them once a year, so hopefully we can do that again. But if
let's have it be at home.
We would be a real gauntlet if we were playing the way that we had hoped. Yeah.
No, it's going to be a very interesting stretch, and hopefully our guys are locked in for what should be a fun one on Thursday night. Amidst everyone says they want to watch football in these conditions.
That's what everybody says.
Everybody
this is why you got to have an outdoor stadium.
You got to play outdoors to play in the
football
elements.
weather. So then you better come.
Your football weather is going to be there on Thursday night. Myles Garrett, an interesting back and forth between him and our assembled media on T.J. Watt and the competition between the 2 of them. We'll have that for you coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We head to the podium presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience packages today for the ultimate game day. Here is Myles Garrett.
When you look at this,
You guys are down 9 minutes.
how different is it with Russell and then the new offensive coordinator?
I mean, fundamentally, they're still the Pittsburgh that I've seen since I got into the league. Always going to find a way, to win. Not going to beat themselves. Just very smart and just a savvy team. Know the best way to put themselves in position to win. And Russ definitely helps them be a little more versatile, moving down the field. He's playing some great football right now, and definitely hitting the deep ball with some consistency and scramble when they need to. But their core and who they've been, that hasn't changed.
Why do you think their makeup allows them to win when they don't have the best games or they don't score a ton of points? Whatever it is, they still figure out a way to win seemingly every year.
Great coaching, very consistent across the board, and the standards and expectations, no matter who's in there, and that kind of coaching seeps into the players and leads to the execution just being on point, down the stretch, especially when they need it.
Hey Myles, I broke down some stats here, and you guys have given up 15 touchdowns, drives of 70 yards or longer. You're 24th in points against after having such a great year last year. What do you think is going wrong?
I haven't looked at the stats to know, so it could be deeper than what you just told me. But if I have to just go off of what I've seen, just being out of position, and when we are there, have to make those tackles and getting off the field. We've had multiple instances and drives where it could be a gain of 3, gain of 2, and it turns into a big play. So we have to make the plays that come to us that we're in position for, and then we have to eliminate the ones where we're completely out of position.
So do you think that if teams caught up to you guys from what you did last year?
I just don't think we're playing the way we need to, and up to our standard which we set last year.
Thank you.
Myles, I know you and TJ Watt have a lot of mutual respect for each other, but last year when you won NFL Defensive Player of the Year, he kind of reacted on Twitter in a negative way as though maybe he should have won it. Was that? How did you feel about that?
I've never complained about the trophy not being in my house, and vice versa. He shouldn't be feeling two ways about it going to me. So we're just gonna play the game. I don't play against TJ. He doesn't play against me, but we'll have a plan to go out and do what we're supposed to, win the game, and dominate on defense. But it's up for grabs this year, and we'll see the best man win.
Is there an extra motivation that comes with that?
Absolutely. Two of the very best in the same division, play each other twice a year, and fans hate each other. That kind of stuff, gets you excited. And I know we both feel it, and get a little bit juiced up for the matchup.
What do you think about just the year he's having, not just the 7.5 sacks, but he's leading the NFL in forced fumbles right now, too?
He's playing some great ball. They are as a unit. Their defensive line front is solid from the left end to the right end position. So, it's not just him, but he leads that front and what he does, the energy that he brings, and obviously they take on his and Hayward's mentality when they go out there.
As a captain and leader of this team, just what are you telling your teammates about the approach for the stretch run, and just what do you feel is the response and the mood in this locker room?
Well, I don't think they'll be running as much stretch run as the people we played last week. I think that was more of a priority for the Saints. Of course, they'll work it in. They'll scheme it in, seeing as we had a little trouble with it last game. But it's just about making those plays that that are in front of us. We have multiple opportunities to get TFLs, tackles for short gains, get them behind the sticks, and we didn't do that. So it's about wrapping those guys up and getting them behind the sticks so we can really tee off and pin our ears back.
Myles, you talked about the stage on Thursday, and so many people have mentioned just how AFC North football is different. What is it about these matchups with the Steelers and the other team in this division that makes it different?
Well, it's going to be cold as hell. Well, that'd be a little bit different. But, I mean, it's probably as physical and gritty football game as you're really going to see around the league. It's two teams that really don't have that much love for one another. And play a physical brand of ball, and they're looking forward to trying to take the number one spot in the AFC, and we're fighting for tooth and nail for each and every win we get. So that's just a classic case of immovable object meets the unstoppable force. We don't want to just go out and take losses and look forward to next year. We have something to look forward to, and that's playing every game like it's our last. Like I said in the media after last game, you got to play for something bigger than you, and this is something that you'll be remembered for a long time. Win, lose, or draw. You're putting out that same that tape. Whether you have a great game, a bad game, in between, people are going to be looking at that. And so, expect all of us to work with that kind of mindset and emotion. And we don't want to go gently into that good night.
You think it'll be more emotional for Nick playing Pittsburgh for the first time since that knee injury?
Nick's not very emotional in general. So.
I know. Is this an exception?
You have to ask him that. He keeps that same, calm and solemn demeanor. So when he gets out there, it could be different. But right now, he's cool as a cucumber, as he always is.
How impressive has it been to see Nick out there at all? Not that we take him for granted, but the fact that he's come back from...
We do. We do take him for granted.
To a degree. We probably do. How inspiring is it to see him even be out there be himself?
It's amazing to see him out here in general. The guy is coming back from not one but two. He's done it prior in his career, and to have that kind of resolve, within you to say, no, this is going to be another bump in the road. This is not going to stop me. It's not going to draw the line for me here, and to continue to work his ass off day in and day out to get back on this field and play the game that he loves, and move in the way that he does. I mean, the guy is one of the most athletic people on the field every time he steps on it, and to get back to even 99% of that, 95% of that, takes a whole hell of a lot of work, and he did everything that he can to put himself in position to make some huge plays for us, and be that cornerstone that he always has been. So, massive amount of respect for him.
Did TJ ever say anything to you after that disc kind of went viral a little bit?
No, he didn't say nothing to me. No, he got to apologize when I see him. Yeah.
And did this change the way that, I know you're friends, did this change the way that you view him or feel about him in any way?
I wouldn't say we're friends. I would say we're friendly, and I have a respect for him and his brother. They've both been great figures and advocates for this game. But it doesn't really change anything. But we'll see what happens on Thursday.
You guys are going up.
All right, there you go. Myles Garrett at the podium. He can't even look up.
I just got a text literally from Kevin that said, phone shut off, coming back here. And I'm like, I think we're back quicker than that.
We're back, baby.
It's been a day, guys.
It's all right. Hey, Hard Knocks trailer dropped. AFC North.
Have they been here?
It seems they have. I mean, we had them in studio here
That
with us
was
Monday, but that was
Amazon,
Amazon
and they said
Prime
we'll
for
be back
Thursday,
for
and we'll
Hard
be back for Hard Knocks. But
They were in the building today, I believe, during availability.
yeah, so they showed some of the stuff from earlier in the season leading into it, and they were in the locker room for stuff because it's NFL Films, so I'm guessing they can piece all that stuff together too.
Correct.
Do we know when those episodes air?
I believe it's a week from Tuesday, or 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today.
I didn't watch the last one. Did you guys? Was it Arizona in season?
No,
I haven't watched. There's been
we usually
Arizona, there's
don't
been,
watch it.
Indy, I want to say. There's
That's
Miami was last year.
I watched one of those. I think I
Miami
watched
was
one of those episodes. No, I just don't have the room for it, but I will for this because we're involved in it. The off-season one did not get the attention it deserved. The one they did on the Giants.
Well, I gave me all the information.
I didn't even watch it in real time though. I watched it this summer. Like it aired in the spring, and I didn't see it in the spring, and nobody made a big deal about it in the spring. But this summer, right before camp, I watched 3 or 4 episodes of it, and I could not believe how free they spoke about their plans.
Yeah, it was
I can't
pretty
believe
impressive.
They basically spent all offseason trying to find another quarterback, and then didn't, and then acted like they were behind Daniel Jones the whole time. I couldn't believe they kept the part where John Maher's like, let's make sure we're right on the Saquon thing. I'll just say this. At one point, I just say this. He's the most popular player we have by far. And then he won't leave the room. He's standing in the back of the room. When they talk about him, maybe they thought Philadelphia was blowing up the price or whatever. Like, on the record.
By the way, speaking of New York teams, the other New York team, the Jets have fired their GM, Joe Douglas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Phil Savage is the interim GM.
Phil Savage. The
Here's
great
what I
Phil
would
Savage.
I think he's done a pretty good job as a GM.
Phil's a great guy.
Z and I were talking about Douglas in the when this news kind of broke. I don't put the Rodgers stuff on him. I don't think that was him.
They never should have fired
Saleh. Bob Saleh. They he's drafted really good position players. Like they got a good I mean, it's Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, those defensive linemen. Like they've hit on a lot of picks.
Hold on, I'm going to go through. Here we go.
They just haven't hit on the coach.
All right. This year, their first pick was tackle.
I hate to see Rock hobbled.
I know. Out of Penn State. Then Malachi Corley in the 3rd round. Braylon Allen, who's looked pretty good for them in the 4th round.
Mm-hmm.
It's early for that one. Let's see. 23. All right. 23, Will McDonald, who's been excellent so far this season. 2 offensive linemen, Joe Tippmann, Carter Warren, don't know enough. Running back Israel Abakanad from the 5th round, but he's basically nothing. So maybe that was kind of like a Will McDonald only draft.
Maybe.
They had a 2nd rounder, Joe Tippmann. Let's see what he's done. Joe Tippmann out of Wisconsin, 27 games, 25 starts. So he's starter. He's a starter for them. Okay, so that's good. 22 would have been Sauce, right? Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, Jeremy Ruckert, who's been a little bit of a disappointment, right?
Yeah.
Max Mitchell, Michael Clemens. But Jermaine Johnson's has 10 career sacks. He's been good. Garrett's obviously been good. Breece has been good.
And Sauce is all-pro.
Sauce is all-pro, right?
And then Garrett would have been the year before.
And then Garrett was same year as Sauce.
They got them both, that's right.
They got them both. Will McDonald has 8 sacks this season and is playing very well. And that was one that, remember, everybody thought they were taking Broderick Jones.
Yes.
The Steelers jumped him, and then they thought they panicked taking him, but it's been pretty good. Let's see, Joe Douglas. He was the general manager in 21. Zach Wilson, Vera Tucker, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter. But there's Elijah Vera Tucker. I'm pretty sure he started 37 games, 37 starts.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, that hasn't worked out. And then Elijah's been, I think, solid. I actually like him. I like that he's on our team now.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No.
Yeah. Got this from one of our fans on social, Bill Krakenberger, who is a professional sports betting guy out of Vegas. He tweeted, a friend of mine had a VIP box for yesterday's UNLV game. I assume this is a college football game. Ordered a pizza and wings. This is in Las Vegas. Never realized what it was going to cost for the slop. $653. Apparently in Vegas, they treat luxury boxes like bottle service. $653 for pizza and wings and chicken strips?
It's insane. It's completely insane.
Yeah, he's got the receipt.
How about it?
$300. One pizza.
One pizza. They call it a pizza rack.
Eat it slow. Chew it completely. Get the whole taste in your mouth.
It's really messed up.
That's screwed up, man.
It's criminal. That feels
awful.
That feels like it's criminal to me.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that feels.
You're not at Club Raw on a Saturday night.
No.
It's UNLV football, baby.
No,
on.
UNLV football might be better than Raider football.
Jeez, I guess. All right, we hit you with your Microsoft Minute. Our final thoughts on the Saints game coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Now's your chance to be inches away from your favorite players. They take on some big opponents down the stretch. Field seats, Huntington Bank Field, put you up close and personal with the thrills of the game. Limited quantities are available, so get them soon before they're gone. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/field seats to secure your spot now. Before we get to the Microsoft Minute, you guys, Gibby has shared us, but if you're out there listening and you haven't, one of my favorite uniform things every year is the dropping of the Army-Navy game uniforms. And we're Navy men. great affection for the United States Navy, but all military. But
course.
Z and I obviously some connections with the Naval Academy and the Navy and all of that.
Been in one of their planes.
Yes, you have. So have I. We, Goose, we. But the Army dropped theirs, and it's an homage to the 101st Airborne and the Battle of the Bulge. So this is Band of Brothers.
Yep.
Is what it's an homage of. And they're spectacular.
Pretty.
They're very good. They're very, very good. They're beautiful. So very good job on that. All right, time for your Microsoft Minute. It's powered by Microsoft Surface. Powering a better game. Here is Dr. Z and his final thoughts on the Saints game.
Listen, we're going to focus on the positives here. What was encouraging from this game? And Jameis Winston had a historic performance. More than 30 completions, more than 375 passing yards, multiple touchdowns, no interceptions. Only the second time, by the way, that has happened in Cleveland Browns history. Can you name the other quarterback who has had a game with 30 or more completions, 375 or more yards, and multiple touchdown passes with no interceptions?
How many times has it happened
For the Browns?
Sipe?
No.
No Sipe.
In my time here.
Oh, in your time here. I don't think Bake ever did that.
Nope. There's a year where we were slinging it, and I'm pretty sure this happened in Baltimore.
Gibbe, you know?
I believe he's a quarterback coach now in the National Football League.
Is it McCown?
That's right. Josh McCown is the only other one to do this. How about this, folks? In the last 75 years of the National Football League,
okay, that's a lot of history.
This is only the second time in the last 75 years of the National Football League in which a quarterback completed more than 30 passes, threw for more than 375 yards with multiple touchdown passes and no interceptions and lost by 21 points or more. The other, I guess, must have been RG3 in 2014, Washington against Indianapolis.
Wow. Yeah, that's a wild combination of things.
So that doesn't happen.
No. That you had a lot of history there. You're talking about over 75 years.
Yeah. So you got that going for you. But listen, Jameis slinging it well, 2 300-yard games in the last 3, and he's really kind of getting people going. Chief has 9 catches. That was a season high last week. Jerry Jeudy now in his 3 games with Jameis Winston as the starter, 18 catches, 294 yards, and a touchdown, over 70 yards in each of those games. Elijah Moore had 6 for 66 and a touchdown, his first of the season. Cedric Tillman caught his first touchdown of the season from Jameis Winston. He's got 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games, 24 catches, 302 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So getting this offense going. Now, you need to get Nick Chubb going. It's going to be tough sledding against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been excellent on that front. But what you're seeing now is, Jameis Winston at least putting up big numbers for the Cleveland Browns here and giving your receivers the time to shine. And you heard, when he was talking about everybody's involved, everybody's engaged, everybody's getting the football. Last week, you had 4 players on this team with 8 or more targets. Tillman had 8. Elijah had 8. Jeudy had 11. David Njoku had 9. When you get that kind of involvement, you can go and make plays, and that's exactly what they're doing. So that's the most encouraging thing coming out of this game. You still got to score more. You still have to do a better job on defense of stopping people from scoring. You got to be better on special teams. But offensively, no matter what, it's at least fun to watch a team that can throw the football around the yard. And right now, we're doing that with Jameis.
Absolutely it is. And you and I talked about this with the decision coming out of the Deshaun injury of staying with Winston, and we had it. This allows for a true evaluation of receivers, of line, of style of play, all of it. And he is throwing the ball down the field. Just is. It's fun. It's entertaining. And at this point, when you're not able to chase the postseason, that's what you hope for as a fan base. And if you're Pittsburgh, Jameis makes you defend it all.
Yep.
And there's that. So you're saying there is a chance, is the way that goes with Winston at quarterback. And that is your Microsoft Minute, powered by Microsoft Surface, powering a better game. Rumpke Waste Recycling, the recycling leader, invested over $100 million to build North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Ohio. Visit rumpke.com to learn more about how this facility helps grow our circular economy. One thought around every game of the weekend coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the preferred provider of copiers and document services for your Cleveland Browns, will tackle any size office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Time for a little game we like to call One Thought around every NFL game from this past weekend. And now your master of ceremonies, Garrett.
Greetings and salutations, gentlemen. Let's move on to Week 11 in the National Football League. Let's put it all to bed here. We had the Microsoft Minute. Now we have One Thought, and then we turn the page.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Game number 1 from the AFC Norris Division. The Steelers, without scoring a touchdown, beat Baltimore 18-16. They go to 8-2. Baltimore falls to 7-4. Bo Bishop, one thought from you.
Lamar was running away with the MVP. Baltimore was a freight train. And then they go to Pittsburgh, and it's totally pedestrian. 16-33, 207, a touchdown and a pick. He ran it 4 for 46. They just stifled him, shut him down. Pittsburgh wasn't offensively. There was nothing here really to be all that impressed with. They were fine. Boswell was amazing. He made all the kicks, including a couple of 50-yarders, and that does
Three
it.
of them.
Yeah, so it's just it's probably the most stupefying result. Not that Pittsburgh won, because I thought Pittsburgh would cover, and I do think I picked them to win. I didn't get a whole lot right, but I did get that one right. But I didn't think they'd win like this. I didn't think you could beat Baltimore without scoring a touchdown, and that's the thing that's just hard to wrap your head around from my perspective. Is that part of it?
Zagura.
What's stunning to me is Lamar, who has been sensational, has not, as the starting quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers since 2019.
Wait a second. That doesn't even qualified within Pittsburgh? He hasn't beaten Pittsburgh since 19?
Since 2019. This year he lost. Last year he was inactive for one and lost. He was inactive for both games in 22. Oh. He was inactive for one in 21 and lost the other. He was inactive. He had COVID for one and then lost the other. And in 19 he was inactive for one and won in Pittsburgh 26-23. And then as a rookie he lost in Pittsburgh 16-23. He is 1-5.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, 1-4 as a starter against them. So he's only started 5 games against them.
That's weird.
And he is 1-4, but he has not beaten the Steelers. And you look at his numbers against the Steelers: 57% completions, 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a rating of 66.7 in those games. He's also had 7 fumbles, lost 3 of them, and has not rushed for a touchdown ever against the Steelers.
Do you think it is the 3-4 they play? What is it? I mean, they're good, obviously, but what is it about them that makes
they match
him
that physicality?
Yeah, it's wild.
Up next to the NFC Norris Division, the Packers take down the Bears 20-19. The Bears losing streak now at 4. The Packers 7-3 and somehow in third place in the NFC North. Zagura, one thought.
This is a strange game to me.
It is very.
Because Jordan Love was 13 of 17 for 261 yards, 15.4 yards an attempt, 113 rating.
Peep those Christian Watson numbers.
Watson 4 for 150 on 4 targets. I don't understand why this game was even close. They turned it over one time. That was it. I don't get why this game was close at all. McManus didn't miss a field goal. I don't understand how they only scored 20 points. They ran it for 106 yards, 4.2 a carry. You know, why were they?
They couldn't get off the field. They couldn't get the Bears off the field. The Bears had way more plays. The Bears ran it 34 for 179.
68 plays to 43.
That's it.
Green Bay was 1 of 5 on third downs. The Bears were 9 of 16.
That's it. It's just you can't get off the field.
We were talking about it earlier. I'm not sure Green Bay is as good as we all think, but they just find ways to win ugly.
They're not going to lose to Chicago.
This is another crazy.
They just don't lose to Chicago.
That's a guarantee.
They don't, but what just another crazy ending on a blocked field goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's 2 in 2 weeks.
Yeah. One of the most wild things is the Bears retrospectively, and we had this at the time, that you would have everything lined up from a roster standpoint, from a drafting standpoint, and that you would not marry the quarterback and the general manager and the coach together at the same time. is nuts. Eberflus comes off as really liked on Hard Knocks, so that part I understand. But, like, that was your clean break. That should have been all new people all at the same time.
Up next, the first time in NFL history this final score has happened. It's the 1,088th unique score in league history, and it was a blowout. The Detroit Lions, 52, Jacksonville Jaguars, 6. Bo Bishop. Got this score right.
Yeah, they're just a juggernaut. What I think's really cool about them, I think this is a mark of a really good team. You bury the bad teams.
Bury.
So when they play bad teams, it's 49-7, it's 52-6. It's burying them. And that is, to me, that's what when I think of, like, because you're going to lose game. Their only loss is a weird one. They lost at home to Tampa. That's their only loss. You play tight. You got to steal some games here and there, fine. But when they have the talent advantage, which is a lot, and it's a decided one, it's hard to even imagine what the number would be. Like, they're only 8-point favorites at Indy this week, and Indy's a big step up for Jacksonville. But, like, the next time they play one of these teams, I don't even know what you do if you're Vegas. You make it 19.5?
20.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they bury them.
The Jags, it is incredible to me how bad they are without Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Mac Jones is awful. It's unbelievable he was a Pro Bowl quarterback at one point. He is, the last few games, I mean, he averages 5 yards an attempt. Here's what I don't understand. You get blown out 52-6.
Yep.
How is there not even like some fourth quarter garbage time padding of the stats?
Nothing.
There's nothing. He throws for 138 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lions had 38 first downs in this game to 10.
38 first downs.
38 first down.
Jeez.
By the way, I got a text from my father-in-law. He said he got this from his Detroit friends. 4 times this year, the Lions have had more touchdowns than incompletions. That's more than the rest of the NFL combined this season. And I know Washington did it like twice early in the year with
Jane
Daniels, and that's it. I mean, you're 8.5 yards play. They had 645 yards of offense.
I know. They're like 95 Nebraska.
That does not happen in the National Football League.
They bury you.
Insane.
And how everybody in Jacksonville still has a job on Tuesday at 2:40.
I don't understand that at all. I'll tell you, last time out, Goff kind of got pushed out of the MVP because he threw 5 picks in their win the week before. Right back this week.
Yeah.
Let's score on our first 7 possessions.
Are they the best team in the NFL?
Yes. They are.
Up next, Minnesota. They keep winning, and they do it impressively. They take down Tennessee 23-13. Excuse me,
8-2.
Vikings now 8-2 on the year. Nathan Zagura.
Couldn't run the ball in this one, and so it was going to be on Darnold and their defense, and the defense certainly has been more than up to the task, but this was a good Darnold game. 2 touchdowns, no picks, 20-32. They're just a solid football team. I was surprised, though. Aaron Jones, Cam Akers, 25 carries for 74 yards is not great. Tennessee they're tough. I'll give it to them. I think that maybe they're a 2-8 that I'd feel a little bit better about, honestly, if I were them. Levis is playing better football.
Yeah.
They're a physically tough defense. Calvin Ridley's a good player. They need more pieces, and they're going to get an opportunity to get those. But I think that, Levis, of late anyway, has been better and is showing that, okay, you know what? They were competitive with the Chargers. They were competitive with Indy. They beat Miami. Maybe things are not so dire for them.
If Levis can play, then that helps. And it looks like he kind of has.
Bit.
Minnesota hasn't been as good as they were
early.
The first half, really since they lost to Detroit at home, 31-29. Darnold has reverted back kind of to what he is. He's got 5 touchdowns, 5 picks, last 3 times out.
The defense
it's
makes
62-63. They got a very good defense. They have the best receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson, and usually they can run it. I do think it's going to be very interesting what they do with him. Like, are they ready to? Because you see that JJ had the second surgery.
Yeah,
McCarthy. They had to go back in.
Yep,
that's not good at all.
No.
So they could be in a situation where they're running back Darnold on a 2-year deal with big money.
Next up, it's the second-place team in the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins, improving to 4-6. That's right, second place at 4-6. But they've won 2 in a row. Another impressive one. They take down the hapless Raiders 34-19, Bo Bishop.
Well, this one was ripe for the scores. on the backdoor cover as we had hoped, and the you blew it, boy. From the Miami perspective, you mentioned what are they 4-6?
They're alive.
They're very much alive. They are one of the teams, and they also have a game in hand. Miami does. So Miami could get back in it. They've got Patriots this week, and then short week at Packers, then Jets at Texans, Niners, us, Jets. It's kind of a robust schedule for them to try to get there, but they certainly have the offensive firepower. And the Raiders, honestly, are pretty damn hapless.
Yeah. Nathan.
Raiders side, Brock Bowers is everything you wanted him to be. 70 catches, 706 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's been fantastic. And then on the Dolphins side, this is what Tua does. 28 of 36, 288, 3 touchdowns, no picks, efficient. You get Achane going. Jonnu Smith has been a nice move tight end. Tyreek Hill gets 761, gets back in the end zone. Still haven't really unlocked Waddle.
No.
But they're playing better. And I also noticed in kind of looking through some of these things, they have a guy on their team named Storm Duck. And
that's a great name.
That makes me really, really like the Dolphins. When you have a Storm Duck on your team.
Feels like something that would have been on the menu at Commander's Palace.
Yeah, Storm Duck.
Storm Duck.
Sure.
Up next, Ramit. Still hanging around. All the injuries, doesn't matter. Rams are 5-5 in a game out of first in the NFC West. They take down New England, a frisky Patriots effort, 28-22. Nathan Ziegler.
You have to wonder what this team would have looked like if they had Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp at the beginning of the season. Because 4 touchdowns in this game.
They'd be atop the division.
Back-to-back 100, or both of them had 100 and a touchdown in this game. I respect the fight of New England, and I think they've got to feel pretty good about Drake May.
Yes.
They're not in a bad spot either. So, good competitive game. I'm pretty sure on the scores we needed New England to just maybe just a little bit more. Not much. Yeah, just a little. Maybe just a field goal would have been great somewhere along the lines there. But, yeah, they were a good game, and the Rams are, with Stafford playing that well, and with Kupp and Nacua, the Rams are tough. They're a tough out.
Yeah, Les Snead did it. He doesn't – remember it was blank them picks?
Yep.
Forever. Well, when he does draft, he lands it. Yep. Nacua was a star that he landed last year. Jared Verse is really good. The defensive end out of Florida State, they landed this year. So, like, when it comes time for them to draft, they land their guys. The Fiske kid's good out of Florida State, too, the defensive tackle. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this Rams team is there for the duration in the NFC West.
Up next, ugly, but the Colts' playoff hopes still alive. The Fighting Yellowstones take down Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, 28-27. Bo Bishop.
It's on me. If a team tells you who they are and they routinely show you who they are, you need to believe them. And the reality for me was, boy, Anthony Richardson completes 44% of his passes. Like, what are we doing here? What's going on? But then the reality is New York sucks, and Rodgers is cooked. They are cooked. He doesn't want to get hit. It's done. It's over. And I'm not picking them the rest of the year. I don't care what the number says.
Nathan.
They are unlikable, unproductive. Garrett Wilson had 18 yards in this game. What are we doing? Yep. Brutal, terrible, hate it, stinks. Next.
Up next, the team we will play after Thursday Night Football, the Denver Broncos. The Broncos staying alive, 6-5 on the year, and the Falcons back to being gutless at 6-5. Broncos 38, Falcons 6. Nathan.
Broncos are good, and Bo Nix is good. Bo Nix last 5 games, 71% completions, 1,200 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 1 pick, a rating of 105.9. He's especially good at home. That's where the Browns are going to get him. 70%, 1,259, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, 106 rating. He was brilliant in this game. 307, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 145 yards passing. He is quietly becoming really, really good. They got their ground game going in this one a little bit. Cortland Sutton's making plays. They've got a bunch of big receivers. Mims can run. They're good. And then this one, are the Falcons gutless again? I mean, this is a shocking just beating that was handed down in this game.
Yeah, I think they are gutless again. One note on Nix. Nix played 3 years at Auburn and then was pushed out the door. And his dad was an Auburn legend, Patrick Nix. He's pushed out the door at Auburn. Then he goes to Oregon and plays 2 years there. He is the NCAA's all-time leader in games played. He is 24 years old right now when they drafted him as a rookie. something to pay attention to for NFL teams going forward. If you, in the right circumstance, a lot of football played is a big deal.
Helps.
It helps. And you draft these quarterbacks and they haven't played a lot of games, or they've started like Richardson. 6 games at Florida. You know, like this kid has played. He was a true freshman starting quarterback at Auburn. 3 years as the Auburn starter, 2 years as the Oregon starter. He was prolific throughout, especially when he got to Oregon. He grew up and learned how to play the position. So when you think about next year's draft and quarterbacks, think about guys who have played a lot, especially in schemes that don't demand you drive the ball down the field like Sean Payton's doesn't.
Yeah.
That was the knock on Nick's. Like, does he have the arm talent to drive it deep? Well, you don't have to if you scheme it as open as Payton's scheming it.
Up next to the NFC West we go. Seahawks are 5-5. So are the Fighting Pedros. Both teams 5-5, along with the Rams. 1 game back of Arizona. Seahawks take care of the Niners 20-17. Nathan Zagura.
My dad is beside himself. He's pissed.
I bet.
Garrett Purdy ended up, not Garrett Purdy.
Brock
Purdy. I went to high school with a kid named Garrett.
Yeah.
Purdy. I keep thinking that. Sorry, Brock, Garrett, doesn't matter. He's on the injury report today for the Niners as well.
So Ayuk was one of the best receivers in the league last year. They lose him. This game they play without Kittle. Trent Williams is banged up. McCaffrey's only played 2 games. Debo has lost a step or 3.
Yep.
It is quite apparent. And so it's tough. This is another game, though, they should have won. Their defense has allowed 3 game-winning drives against them. You win 2 of those games. And this is a 7-3 team, and you're saying, okay, the Niners are back, and they haven't even played close to their best football yet. Seahawks, from their perspective, finally they've realized Jackson Smith-Njigba is really good. He's a target monster. Love it. We've seen him back-to-back 100-yard games for him. And they made enough plays down the stretch. The Niners had a chance to run the clock out, didn't. They punt it back, and then the defense can't make a stop. They're just...
How do they not have a shadow on Geno?
I don't know. What he just back-to-back runs, right?
Yeah, the game-winning one.
Yep,
and then
before
a huge
that
scramble
was,
right before
yeah.
it. He had 2 huge scrambles.
All on the last drive.
Just going like, what are we doing?
Yeah, all on the last drive. Their defense is just not making plays the same way that you're used to. I mean, you look at their schedule, and I'm pretty sure it was the Rams and the Cardinals are the other 2. So that's 3 in the division. In the Rams, yeah, you lose 27-24 there, and you lose the Cardinals 24-23, and you had both of those games won. Cardinals outscore them by 10. I mean, the Rams outscored them by 10 in the fourth quarter to come back and win that game. And in the Cardinals one, the Cardinals outscored them 11-0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They're up 23-10 at the half and lost to the Cardinals. They're just not closing games out the way that you're accustomed to seeing with a 49ers football team. And it's nobody wants them in the playoffs, but right now, if they keep going the way they are, they might not be in the playoffs. They wouldn't be in the playoffs if they started today.
No. How tough's their schedule rest of the way?
Let's see. I'll pull it up right now. But another thing, when you look at in the NFC and the standings,
I got it. Make your point. I'll pull it up for you.
The NFL, the playoff race in the NFC is tough because right now they're in the 10 spot at 5-4, but Commanders are 7-4. So 7-4, 3 games over 500 is the final wild card spot. So you've got a long way to go.
At Packers this week, America's Game of the Week. At Bills Sunday Night Football. Bears at home, Ram it at home, at Miami, Lions at home,
Monday Night Football,
at Cards.
Yeah, no, not
That's
easy.
might be the toughest closing stretch.
So the team you have to catch, most likely, well, one of them would be the Packers, and you said they play the Packers
They do.
this week, right?
Yeah, this week.
So that's a big one. Commanders' schedule. Cowboys should be a win. That's 8-4. Titans at home should be a win. That would be 9-4. Bye week at Saints. Feel pretty good about that.
Yep.
Home Eagles, home Falcons, at Cowboys. I mean, the Commanders.
They're not going to
catching. They're not catching.
They're going to win
Commanders.
10 or 11.
They're not catching the Commanders.
Yeah.
So you have to catch the Packers. Packers. You play the Niners. Packers' schedule not as easy. Home Niners, home Dolphins on Thanksgiving. So quick turnaround. At Lions, at Seahawks, home Saints, at Vikings, home Bears.
49ers definitely have the toughest stretch, and they don't have the games in hand.
And
they're
gonna,
behind.
Yeah.
You got to catch up. A must win, I would say, for them at
Yes,
Green Bay
and
this
Green Bay
weekend. They got a must win.
The Buffalo Bills officially knocked the Kansas City Chiefs from the ranks of the unbeaten. Bills 30, Chiefs 21. Let me give you this. The Bills are on a bye week this week. Their final 6 games. Home for the 49ers on Sunday night, as we just talked about. Bills at Ramette. Bills at Lions. And then Patriots at home. Jets at home at New England.
So 3 tough ones and then 3 easy ones.
Yeah. Nathan Zagura, one thought.
Yeah, Josh Allen said, I'm calling game. And he did just that. What was stunning to me, though, one thought on this. Number one, this was not the play of the year in the NFL, but I love when Nance gets fired up like that. It's great.
so excited.
So excited.
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
The other side of it is, how's Travis Kelce have 2 catches for 8 yards?
I think he's at the end of the line.
He is, but he'd been quite a bit more productive than that
yeah.
the last few weeks.
This isn't it, but it's something like this. Mahomes' losses by 8 or more since he's been the starter, and he's 83-22 as the starter for Kansas City in his career. Of the 22 losses, I thought I heard something this week that 4 were by 8 or more. 4 or 5 were by 8 or more, so this is one of them. It just doesn't happen.
No.
You just don't house him.
11 picks on the year for Patrick Mahomes.
And to me, it means nothing until it's got to be, they're going to have to win in Kansas City.
The thing is, well, who the Chiefs have left? Let's see.
No, they got to play Denver. They got to play the division, but
so you're 9-1, and you would have
play
the
the
head.
Chargers,
You'd have
too.
the head-to-head with them. So
Gotta
they
play the
go
Bengals.
at Panthers is a win. Home
1
Raiders,
minute,
that's
1
a win.
minute.
Home Chargers at Browns. Home Texans at Steelers at Broncos. So there could be a couple tough ones in there.
One
Go
more?
ahead. Real quick. Chargers 34, Bengals 27. Just
I like
one
this
quick
Chargers.
thought.
Yeah,
Harbaugh's good. This is the
Herbert's
type
good.
of
Harbaugh Sunday night.
and it's also the type of game that's going to be a fun one. Also the type of game they used to lose with Staley when they
Yes.
give it all up.
Yep.
100%.
They kept in it.
Herbert
They
is
kept in
so
it.
good.
Join Z and Gerard tonight at 7, special Tuesday edition of the Kevin Stefanski Show. Coach joins the guys to get ready for the Browns and the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. The next level is coming up next. Do you have a quick one?
I didn't like the Bengals orange pants. They've never worn that before.
I didn't like that combo.
Didn't like
either.
it at all.
Nope, same. Next level is coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You've been listening